is Daniela Vartani. Michelle's my middle name.
Okay.
I am 19 years old, and today I'm most excited about sharing my story with everyone.
Love that. You're gonna kill it. I can already feel it.
Thank you.
What is your favorite activity to do right now outside of school or work?
Outside of school, I'm assuming you mean non-academic.
Yeah.
Personally, I really enjoy going outdoors and just doing something outdoors, whether it's just like hiking, enjoying the beautiful scenery we have outside. I really like doing that. Or maybe playing piano. I've been playing piano for the last 10 years, always very calm activity. Super nice, always gets me and my family and friends together. And then I would also say like cooking and baking. I've been cooking ever since I was 8 years old, and it's always been a pleasure to learn new recipes for my family and friends. So I would say those are definitely my, favorite activities right now.
That's so cute. I love that.
Thank you.
What if we met your best friend on the street, how do you think that they would describe you?
If I met my best friend on the street, I think they would describe me as extremely optimistic. I feel like nowadays, with everything going on in the world, whether it's like another war, another, epidemic, breakout or everything, I really do try to be optimistic about a lot of things, sitting there and being upset, and it's not going to get us anywhere, and just finding ways to see like the positive light in things, finding ways to help other people. I really do try to be optimistic. I think that's one word they would say. At the same time, I would say empathetic. I feel like no matter what situation I am in life, I really do try to understand the other perspective always. I try to put myself in, someone else's shoes and try to see what it would be like for them in that situation. So I think optimistic and empathetic are my top two qualities. And if I would say a third quality that really makes me stand out from other people, I would say extremely inquisitive. I feel like not only am I like an academic person, but I really do like learning more things about the world, whether it has to do with like academics and asking questions in that realm, or whether it's like career-oriented questions and just learning about people. I feel like in life I am known for asking a lot of questions when I meet people, when I am in a classroom, so I feel like inquisitive is a word that a lot of people would describe me as.
Oh my gosh. I love that. People also describe me as inquisitive. So I get you. I feel you a lot. What is an accomplishment, personal project, or extracurricular activity that you are proud of working on?
Absolutely. I feel like one of my most proud projects goes back to my summer before my senior year of high school. So a few years back, the Russian-Ukrainian war started. And personally, it was a really big hit to me because I have both Russian and Ukrainian roots. I'm Russian, Ukrainian, Armenian. And we had a lot of family that lived in Russia and in Ukraine. And because of, the whole outbreak, because of like the presidents and all the disputes going on, they were affected both emotionally and physically. Like my relatives in Ukraine, they lived in an apartment and their whole entire home was bombed.
It's horrible.
And that happened to a lot of their friends too. And the fact that like I'm sitting here in beautiful San Diego and I'm living a great life and there are people around the world struggling so much, it was just really difficult.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
No, oh my gosh.
I'm sorry.
I don't know where tissues are. We don't really have them.
Okay. It was just very difficult just to see them like that. So I'm so sorry.
No, you're fine.
I really wanted to do something to give back to them. And just find a way of how I can help people around the world. So obviously, being a high schooler, I didn't have access to many resources and like what I could really have an impact across the world. So I came up with starting a fundraiser.
Okay.
And I thought just by advertising, what's going on throughout my whole entire high school, throughout my district, getting it on a district level would, bring some attention. So I started a club at my school, and it was to bring awareness to the Russian-Ukrainian war. We were able to start a fundraiser, get the attention of many people. Our district, we sent out a GoFundMe to our family and friends, and over the course of a few months, we were able to raise $10,000.
Oh my gosh, that's
which
fantastic.
was so wonderful, and being able to donate that and give them back. And we used some of the money we donated to organizations in Ukraine that helped provide resources. We also shipped our own resources to people struggling to help them. So I think that was so impactful, and honestly one of my biggest accomplishments, just knowing that I was able to help people that were struggling on both sides of the country, in both Ukraine and both Russia, because people in Russia were impacted too.
No, of course.
So I think that was honestly one of my biggest accomplishments.
Wow, that's fantastic. And it's really an amazing personal accomplishment.
Thank you.
I know you did a great kind of cover of that, but what tips would you give to someone maybe trying to do something similar, maybe not exactly that situation, but just in the broad scope?
I think the most important thing is, obviously, just like everyone says, to never give up. I feel like whether it came to starting a club on campus, whether it came to like getting the attention of a lot of people, that was always the hardest part. Like on my campus, specifically in my high school, it was incredibly difficult to like get a club started. They would either be like, we already have a club similar to this, we already have organizations similar to this, there's no need for another one. And I feel like just constantly fighting for what you believe in and speaking up for yourself. Like I had to go to the vice principal personally to get the word out, because you know, our club administrator, he wouldn't really listen because he was busy with his own things. So I think it's super duper important to speak up for yourself, and if someone doesn't want to listen to you, you immediately go to a higher level in the district and speak with them, because at one point someone will listen to you and your ideas will get heard. So never give up and always speak up for yourself.
Perfect. Those are good tips. I love that.
Thank you.
What does education mean to you?
To me, education means, that's a good question. I would say education is a foundation to do something meaningful in life. I feel like the education we get in school is one type of education, it's academic. The education we get from sports or extracurricular activities, that's another education. We're also educated when we make friendships and go through life challenges. So I think education is what creates a foundation in life to help us make an impact, whether it's in our career, whether it's, you know, with our families, whether it's maybe in a school or an academic setting, whether it's on a political setting. So no matter the education you get, whether it's at a school, the life circumstances you're within, it creates a foundation. It creates, it helps you realize what you value in life, what you're good at, what talents you have, and what you can bring to a community. So I think education helps people create an impact.
Perfect. That's great. A little fun one. What's a topic, subject, or skill that you think should be taught in schools that might not be already, or just something that's not going on?
Yeah, of course. I feel like schools in general, colleges, they're very focused on like the academic aspects of life and like the basic core subjects, English, writing, math. But personally, I feel like it would be very beneficial to have like a mandatory class where we're taught about finances. I think that would be very important. I feel like a lot of adults go into the real world not knowing, you know, how to do their taxes, or they have to learn that from, you know, other individuals or their parents or their friends, like filing taxes and, you know, paying bills and trying to understand like how much to allocate, like put off money monthly. I think learning basic finances at a young age, like maybe senior year in high school or beginning first year of college, would really help prepare and set students up, you know, for the real world much better, and they would be in much less financial problems, you know, moving forward. So I think that would be a very beneficial class to implement.
Completely. I agree. That, trust me. Just graduate, fresh for graduation. I completely agree. Exactly. Tell me about someone who has left an impact on you and why.
Someone who has left an impact on me. Honestly, I would say that, I would say my mom. I know that's a very basic answer, but I think my mom is one of my best friends in life. She is so inspirational. She's so talented, and I owe so many of my successes to her because she always pushes me to continue following my dreams, passions, and goals. So both of my parents grew up in Moscow, Russia, and they immigrated here when they were around 20 years old, so still very young. And, you know, they, when they were in high school, 11th, 12th grade, they told me they were both studying like English as a foreign language. And eventually when they were able to come to the U.S., English wasn't their primary language, and they had to, you know, take classes here at like community colleges, adjust to the lifestyle, and it was definitely quite difficult. Even when it came in terms of finding a job later on in life, it was quite difficult for them. However, despite that, you know, my mom especially, she kept on studying, you know, she learned the language, she took extra classes, she really took the time to, you know, do the impossible in my eyes, come to a different country and learn the language and establish herself. She kept looking for a job, she started off small, working at a cafe and then, worked her way up, whether it was first, then she went off to work at a corporate job, like for newspaper articles. So she started off small and, I really do look up to her, everything that she's done and how she's gotten over here and completely transformed her life within the last 20 years, I think is really inspirational. So
oh my gosh,
I aspire to be like her, to never give up. And, I really am appreciative that I have someone like her in my life who always pushes me towards my goals, who believes in me most importantly. And I do look up to her. She's my biggest inspiration.
Oh, I love that. I love mom-daughter relationships. They're the best. Is there a cause or social issue that you are passionate about? I know you spoke a little earlier about it. And why is it important to you?
Absolutely. So as I elaborated on earlier, unfortunately, the Russian-Ukrainian war is still going on for many, many years now. Yeah. And it's something I am still very passionate to this day. And I completely understand there are also other wars going on, like there's like the Israel and Hamas conflicts going on in the world, and I'm very passionate about social issues like that going around in the world. I think it's very important to take the time and find ways to help people if we can. We are so fortunate to be living in California and to have the opportunities we have, whether it comes like in education and careers, and people around the world don't have that. They're trying to figure out how they can survive until the next day. So personally, to me, the Russian-Ukrainian war especially is quite important because of how close it is to my roots. And, to this day, I continue to find ways, like my family currently is, working on putting together, like our relatives were able to relocate to different locations safely. So we are very happy about that. Now we're continuing, to continue to fundraise here and there when we have time to continue sending care packages to those in Ukraine and Russia who still haven't been able to, establish and move on. So war is going on around the world. Especially important to me.
Yes, of course. What advice would you give to someone who wants to make a positive impact on their community?
Absolutely. I think what's important to realize when it comes to positive impact is whether it's small, whether it's big, it's still going to help. So whether you're donating $20, whether you're going out of your way to just inform people, whether you're, joining a protest to just fight for what you believe, it all counts. Yeah. And I think that's really important to realize. I feel like some people just think like, oh, like what is my presence of one person going to do? No, it counts. Yeah. Because your presence influences the presence of others. And I think it's really important to realize that you are your own person and you will contribute just as one person, no matter what you do. And to just try to find different ways to contribute is always really important when it comes to finding a positive, making a positive impact.
No, completely. What is a challenge that you have had to work through, and how has it helped shape you?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say one of the challenges I've had to work on throughout my whole entire life has just been the slight prejudice I experience as a woman in STEM. Ever since I was in elementary school, my favorite subject in school has always been math. I've adored math. Yeah. I love, problem solving. I love finding a solution to something. I love working with numbers, and that's definitely something I want to do in my future career path. But it's obviously a male-dominated field, and it still continues to be to this day. And, hopefully that'll change. I know there's a lot of efforts now being towards 50-50, allowing more women opportunities in the STEM field. So I'm very supportive of that. But I still feel like growing up and in elementary, middle school, and high school, and even in college right now, unfortunately, I do still experience that prejudice. I will be sitting in my math class, and I took a bunch of extra math classes in high school, so I'm in a third-year math class right now in my college, and I'll be coming in the first day, and I'll be sitting down. I'll be one of the very few girls in the theoretical math class, and people will refuse to sit next to me, or I'll just ask them a question, and some people will completely ignore me, unfortunately. And I try not to take things personally, but it has been something that I've had to deal with as I grow up. Yeah. I even had a teacher in high school, unfortunately, who accused me of cheating because I got one of the highest scores on the exams, and she just refused to believe that. And I mean, that was really unfortunate. She made the exam herself. There was no way to even cheat on it, but the fact that she accused me of that was pretty upsetting. But just small instances like that, I think, have been my biggest challenge. But I've honestly grown to, use that as a form to shape who I am and to just inspire me to never give up. And, there's always going to be people who don't believe you or look down upon you, but that shouldn't stop you from doing what you're passionate about, because in 10 years, that's not going to matter.
No, completely.
So I would say that's my biggest challenge, but it's something I learned to work through, and I'll continue powering through as I go through my career.
And trust me, I understand it. Same situation. What advice would you give to someone facing a similar challenge?
Facing a similar challenge, I would honestly say just remember that you are your own person and you are just as talented as them, and you're capable of just the same thing that the person next to you is, and to really you really need to try to avoid what they're saying and what they're doing and their actions, because, you know, the reason people act certain ways is a reflection of their own insecurities and what's going on around in their personal life.
Yeah.
Sometimes people have their own personal struggles and they project that on you.
Yeah.
And there's nothing you can do about that.
Completely.
So never judge what a person's doing to you, because you never know what they're going through either. And just use that, you know, to inspire you and motivate you to keep going.
Yeah.
So you never know what someone else is going through.
So true. And what do you think is something about you that gets left off of standard applications?
What? Let's see. I feel like off of standard job applications.
Just like any kind. I would say I feel like college and high school, they cover a little bit more applications, so maybe those. But either way, however you interpret it.
What gets left off? I feel like all these job applications, college applications, they always ask if you speak a foreign language. And, you know, people grow up speaking a foreign language and, you know, they speak it, that's it. But I feel like applications don't always ask you about, like, how fluent you are. Can you read and write? And when I was 5 years old, my parents enrolled me into Russian classes. And for the last, that makes it 19 ways. For the last 14 years, I've been taking Russian classes. Yeah. And I've learned how to read, write, and now to this day, I can interpret and hold, like, conversations on a political level, which is not something that anyone can do. Like, a lot of my friends, you know, grew up speaking Russian too, but they can't read, they can't write, and I feel like those are very admirable qualities that are, you know, very desired in, like, many fields and careers. Completely. So I feel like just my fluency in the language and my abilities in the language is something that is not often asked about in many applications, and it's something that, you know, I really wish and I really like to share with people, because my language is something I'm super passionate about. You know, I've been studying it for so many years. I'm even pursuing a minor in it right now because I don't want to forget it, and I just want to learn more, and it's something I want to keep for the rest of my life and hopefully apply in my career one day. So I think, you know, asking about, like, my abilities in the language is something.
That's a good one. Okay, amazing job. And then I guess our last one for the camera is, what would you say to a student who will be doing their storyteller interview?
That's a great question.
It is. I just knew.
Yeah, so the first thing I would say is, when you're doing the storyteller interview, you're sharing your story. So speak honest from the heart. Don't be afraid, you know, to say something that you think you might be judged for, because at the end of the day, there's people around the world that are going through much worse struggles than us. So I think by sharing these personal aspects of ourselves, we're able to make other people feel that they're not alone. And maybe someone else in the world who's watching your video right now will be able to relate to you. So speak from the heart, speak from your experience, and share the personal experience to help someone else.
Perfect. You did great.
Thank you so much.
Hey YouTube, if you like this person's story, don't forget to subscribe to hear more from our inspiring youth. If you're interested in applying for our Storyteller Scholarship or to join our organization, just sign up at the link below. Thanks for watching. Enjoy!